Roughing the passer calls. Roughing the passer calls.
What's up?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Roughing the Passer Season 2 Live, Week 11 in the NFL. Holy shit. But Week 11 in the NFL. As always, my name is the DH, and I'm joined by my co-host and one of my very best friends in the world, Mr. John Newman. What's up, buddy? Does John already have some service issues? Looks like he may. So we're going to let him fix those service issues real quick. And we're actually going to run through the scores real quick. Run through the scores real quick while John goes through that. We'll see if he's back in. You there now, John?
I'm back. I don't know,
right.
man. This internet is as bad as the Jets.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll talk about them in here in just a minute. But guys, as always, please, we as you know, we are the only live call-in show on the NFL. We get to you right before all these analysts and all these guys on Monday can fill your head with nonsense. We like to get to you and get you the nitty-gritty stuff. But the show is nothing without you guys. So please call in, join the show. If you have any questions, comments, even if it's nothing to do with what we're talking about, if there's something that you want to debate, something you want to get off your chest for the world to hear, anything, call in, join the show. I'm putting the link, as always, right here in the comments for you to call in and join. You don't have to be on video. You can do just audio. So please feel free to call in anytime during the show, as we love it when we get your guys' interaction and all this. But, John, I guess I'm going to let you do it this week since I did it last week. But we'll run down the scores real quick.
Sure.
Let everybody know a little bit about what happened today.
Yeah. Well, Thursday night, the Seahawks got revenge on the Cardinals, 28-21. My Steelers beat the Panthers 27-3. Game's was a little closer earlier than that score indicates, but a win's a win.
Hey, yeah.
The start to Matt Patricia watch. We'll talk about that too. But the Panthers smoked the Lions. I want a shutout. I mean, it's one thing to win a game, but to shut out a team, that's a whole level of demoralization.
Shit whooping right there.
Yeah. Texans beat I think the Patriots dynasty, we can officially say, is over. The Texans beat them by a touchdown. Exciting game. This game I watched as soon as the Steeler game was over. I went right to this game, and the Titans off of Derrick Henry overtime touchdown beat the Ravens, and they don't look like they're going to win the division now with the Steelers having a 3-4 game lead on them. The Battle of Crappy Quarterback Bowl was won by the Browns today, 22-17. We'll talk more about that game.
Oh, yes, we will be.
Yeah, Saints handled the Falcons. I picked the under. How this game had a 52 over under, I don't know, but 24-9 equals 33. I won one of my picks this week based on that.
That's good.
Washington beats the Bengals 20-9, but the bigger loss was Joe Burrow torn ACL. Yeah. This is coming from a Steeler fan. That sucks, and I feel bad for them and him. The Chargers managed to play down to the competition and beat the Jets by 6. I won this game. I said the Jets would cover. They did. So, again, take it to the bank. We'll talk about the next game too. The Broncos hold off the Dolphins 20-13. Just when the Dolphins look like world beaters, today happened.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick saw the field again. Well, that'll be something I kind of want to broach with you. I can't figure the Vikings. We talked about this last week. What are they? Right?
Yeah.
Today they can't be at home. I know with COVID and not full stands, it's not really a home field advantage, but it is a home game, and they let the Cowboys come in there and beat them 31-28. The Packers managed to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory, and were beaten by the Colts 34-31. And the Chiefs Raiders are going on right now, and it's 17-14. The Raiders trying for the season sweep over the Super Bowl champs. And so there's your scoreboard rundown.
Yeah, man. And the first thing is you take a look at this whole scoreboard is just the amount of ridiculous games there were this week. And I look at this week and I see a ton of storylines that are going to be playing out throughout the entire season, throughout the rest of the season, based off of these games. Because like we said last week, we're hitting week 11. There's no more. It's only week whatever. Shit matters. This stuff matters now. This is important. Every single game is a playoff game now. And there's a lot of questionable teams, a lot of questionable stuff. But before we dive into all of that and everything, we'll do 2 each this week to kind of knock it down a little bit. But we'll do our game balls and our goats. So, guys, if you're unfamiliar with this segment, Game Balls and Goats, this is where we give our game balls to the players we thought played the best. And our goats does not mean the guy that plays down in Tampa Bay. This means the guys that just shit the bed, whether it be a player, anything, whatever it is, guys that played terrible today. So please also, guys, please call in and let us know who gets your game ball or who's your goat of the week as well. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know who you thought played great, who you thought played terrible. But, John, I'll kick us off with the game balls this week.
Right.
And I've got 2 of them, and I'll go on and give them both to you. One of them, very familiar. He's been on my list quite a bit, and that's Justin Herbert yet again. This man, this kid it's incredible. I mean, you think about it, he was not scheduled to even be near a starter. Like, he wasn't supposed to come in until around now at the earliest. He was supposed to be a project. He was supposed to be not ready. But I see a quarterback that is poised, that can throw a beautiful deep ball, that has weapons around him, that has control of the game, that if his defense would just play any defense whatsoever, this kid could easily have a 1-2 loss record. I mean, they're that close. They've lost that many games by that little. Justin Herbert today played lights out amazing. Like, I can't say enough good things about this kid. He's my favorite new quarterback to watch. I know they played the Jets, but when you go in and play the Jets, what I look at is, do you have a good game? 37 for 49, 366 yards, 3 touchdowns, along with 11 yards rushing. That's a hell of a good game. So you went in there, you did what you had to do, you got the win. It was never in doubt. Justin Herbert gets my first one. And my second game ball of the week is someone that he was my DFS sneaker of the week, sneak pick of the week, but Taysom Hill. I did not expect him to start at quarterback. I thought he would be just used situationally. I thought Winston would be the main guy and that they would really all go to a 2-quarterback system. I did not expect to see Taysom Hill out there fully running the offense, and another genius move by Sean Payton. I thought he should have been the one out there, but Taysom Hill's incredible. Do I think he's a quarterback that's going to take the league by storm and win 3 Super Bowls? God, no. But do I think he's going to be one of those guys that can go out and get you a couple wins when your starter's hurt, maybe fill in for a season and lead your team to victory and come in there and be a situational guy? Absolutely. But seeing him today, watching him when coaches have no tape on him was absolute just beauty. He played beautiful, and it's very hard for me to say that being that it was the Saints. But those are my two game balls, my boy Justin Herbert and Taysom Hill.
Well, it's funny. I had 4 names written down thinking we would go over 3. 2 of those names you mentioned. So let's eliminate them. Very worthy.
There you go.
And I'll just mention the 2 I had left out of the 4. Real quick on Justin Herbert. I don't care who you're playing. It's the NFL, and 366 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
He's been doing it pretty much all year. Like you said, they got some defense issues. They got some coaching issues too.
Yeah.
And so when they get a real staff in there, that team could be scary, dangerous. Look out for them. Maybe next year if they push the right buttons. Taysom Hill was on my list. If you look at his box score, it wasn't crazy good, but he was just making plays with his feet. He threw some nice passes.
Yeah,
and it reminded me of the old Steeler days. I don't know. You might have been young. Cordell Stewart. Remember Cordell Stewart?
Oh, dude, I'm not that young, John. Cordell was my boy. I loved Cordell Stewart, and it did remind me of Cordell Stewart, letting him do everything. Yeah, everything. And he did have a good game. I mean, he went 18 for 23 for 233, no touchdowns, but he went 10 carries for 51 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So he got the stuff done when it mattered.
Yeah, and so they didn't miss a beat. So those were 2 of my 4 names. So let's talk about the other 2. One's a homer pick, but the numbers are there, Drew. Deontay Johnson, 12 catches, 130 yards. I watched the game. A lot of these catches were on 3rd down, crucial. Keep the drives going, move the change. You know, this game early on was
close.
And the Steelers did not look good. He was really just kind of him and Ben were just kind of like follow us and just kind of put them on their back. And so got to give it to Deontay. 12 catches, I don't know, 120, 130 yards, and big catches at key times. And then my other guy, you can almost probably give it to this guy every week, but today against a very good defense, he was a workhorse, and that's Derrick Henry. And to do what he does when defenses are really stacking the box to stop him, and even that touchdown to win it in overtime, he just busted a couple tackles and it was over. And you could see the Ravens defense was just frustrated. And that's a pretty good unit in their own right. And so to make that defense see fits, I'm going to give him a game ball. And since I had 4 on the list and you took 2, I'll pick the other 2.
Well, I completely agree with those. I think those are beautiful picks. Going to Derrick Henry real quick before we move on to GOATs. That was a man which we'll touch on in just a minute. You watch. If you didn't get to see this game, I want you to go watch the highlights. I want you to watch it on NFL Network. I want you to watch the second half of this game. You will see something you haven't seen since the 90s, and that is a running back. Look at his team and say, forget this new age, let's throw 50 times a game. Put the game on my back and let me show you what I can do. And you watched a dominating performance. If you thought that man dominated through the playoffs, what he did today was special. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. So I completely agree with you. And Deontay Johnson, I completely agree. 12 catches, 111 yards, not a problem at all. The only thing that frustrates me about your damn Steelers is you've got 3 number ones easily, and then number 1 tight end. And so I never know who to pick in DraftKings or FanDuel because you always throw to a different one each week. So you just drive me crazy, but that's just a personal vendetta against that. So good game balls. I agree with all those guys. Let us know who you think deserves your game ball here in the comments, or call in, join the show, or any other questions you may have. But now we're going to move on to our GOATs. It is officially GOAT time. And no, we're not talking about Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or anyone else, Barry Bonds, whoever you want to call it. But We are talking about the guys that shit the bed today. And I'm going to go on and start this off, John. And I actually, for the first time, I don't have one singular player, but I've got two units. And I've got, first off, I've got the Dolphins defense. The Dolphins defense was atrocious outside. They got lucky with a fumble at the one. That was pure luck. It wasn't skill at the end of the game to give them a chance to even be in this game. They did not put the pressure that was needed. This game should never have been close. Kalen Ballard should have been running all over these guys. Tua should have just had to game manage this thing and been just fine. But instead, their defense hung them out to dry all day long today. And you saw that Tua's not quite top tier ready yet, and that he needs a little bit of work and he needs a little bit of help, and he needs that big defense. So the Dolphins defense gets my first GOAT, and my second GOAT, just give it to the fucking Ravens. I mean, can we print out 30 of them and give them to the Ravens? Jesus Christ, guys. Like, we were talking, John, and we were talking about, is Kansas City the Kansas City of old? Are these teams the same teams as whatever? Who the hell is this football team? Like, do you trust this team to go into the playoffs on any game? Because there's no home field advantage anymore for anybody. So do you trust this team to go into wherever, whether it be home, road, whatever the fuck it is, and expect this team to just guaranteed win a playoff game outside of maybe Pat Mahomes? I sure as hell don't. I see a team that worries the hell out of me. They've got weapons everywhere, and Lamar Jackson cannot get the ball to him. Like, He can't. He cannot. Mark Andrews, thank God, one of the best at his positions, one of the only people that's doing anything. But you've got good receivers. You've got receivers that can get separation. You've got receivers that are possession receivers, yet you can't convert on third downs on passing. You can't get any safeties to pull down over the top. What are you doing? The team goes from a team, I think, as a Super Bowl contender with the possible MVP candidate on it every year to a team that's, what the fuck are you doing? And it goes on defense too. You let Derrick Henry literally take over a football game in a passing league. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I'm glad you opened that door for me. I watched.
Well, it's wide fucking open. Go for it, buddy.
Lamar Jackson's regressed this year. Whether he won the MVP and he bought his own press clippings, I don't think he's he's not a great passer. You hit the nail right on the head. He's not getting the ball. They have playmakers. That's the crazy thing. And now what you got, I don't know if you saw the quote last week from Marquise Brown. He made a comment like, you got to give me the ball.
Basically, throw me the fucking ball.
Yeah.
But you know what? You want to know why Marquise Brown's not getting the ball? Because he's not going through progressions. He's looking at one progression, and then he's looking right at Mark Andrews because he knows he's open. He's not worrying about trying to make plays. It's pathetic.
And I don't want to say this too loud and jinx them and reverse psychology.
Right.
But, yeah, they don't look scary. Steelers going to play them again Thursday night, Thanksgiving. Yep. And so we're going to see. They beat them the first time. The Steelers do a pretty good job with Lamar. It's going to be someone else that has to really beat him. And Lamar, he looks like this year, Drew, what I thought he was going to be the first year coming out of Louisville.
Yes, exactly.
Not a great passer, a terrific athlete, but will he manage as a starting quarterback in the NFL? And I know that's crazy coming off a year he won the MVP. But if he didn't have that MVP, we might be talking about, depending on who the backup was, which it's not very good. No. But under normal circumstances, we might be discussing, like, should they bring in the next guy right now? Yeah. They've lost two straight. The receivers are not getting the rock.
24-point blown lead today.
Yeah. Dobbins, I love J.K. Dobbins.
Love him.
But you can't he's not ready to be the Derrick Henry of the league yet. And so there's problems there. We'll see how this all plays out. But as a Steeler fan, I'm not going to lie. I'm not crying tears for Baltimore.
No,
In
they
many
better
years,
get
this
it.
is the other way around. So.
They better get it together, and they better get it together fast because we're entering week 12, and they seem to be regressing more and more each week. But guys, please call in. Let us know. Are we completely batshit crazy? Is Lamar Jackson still an MVP quarterback? Are the Ravens still one of the best teams in the league? Let us know in the comments. Call in. You don't have to be on video. Call in. Let us know. Are we right? Are we wrong? Let us know.
It's like we said last week. I said it last week. I'm going to stick to it even more so this week. And I know he lost too this week, but Kyler Murray looks like a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
And he looked a hell of a lot better in his loss than Lamar Jackson did too.
Yeah.
And I'll stick with it too. So let us know if we're crazy or call in, give us your game balls and goats or any other game you would like to talk about. We got a couple comments here. Let's take a look real quick. Ziggy, know what's going on, my man. Call in, buddy. Say what's up. And not Nick Gable says the Ravens suck. So
I think
that. So I think he will agree with you that Lamar Jackson is absolutely regressing.
I'll give my two goats. I'll make it quick.
Yeah, so we can move on now.
They were both in the same game. We kind of touched on it when I went through the scoreboard. Yeah, at this rate, you can almost give it to them every week. Both of these guys. It's the two quarterbacks in the Cleveland-Philly game, Carson Wentz and Baker Mayfield. And Cleveland is 6-3. And Baker Mayfield's not playing well. They're winning in spite of him. They got the two-headed Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, a pretty good defense. And Mayfield just really has to be a game manager. And he's really not doing that very well. But they're just winning games. Yeah. They're winning games on other people's.
Yes.
And Mayfield can have a bad game, and Cleveland can still win.
Absolutely. And I think Cleveland's on the right track. I like Chubb. I think they're on the right track, but they're 100% not there yet. Now, there is some stuff I do want to go over here. But we had a caller, but they just disappeared. Please call back in. Where I was about to add you in, and then you disappeared. Just call right back, and we'll add you right in. So, But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Oh, there we go. Here he is. So we're going to add him in now. You guys might know him as one of the co-hosts of Hobby Hotline with myself and John Newman. But Mr. Ziggy, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How are you doing tonight?
Good. What's up, Ziggy?
Not much. Just catching up on the weekend, watching some football, watching the Sunday night game, checking my fantasy teams, watching them lose. Listening to you guys.
I hear you.
Join the club.
Yeah. So what's up, man? What you got a question or anything stick out to you about today? What's up, bud?
Well, see, what happened with Tua there? Was he injured or was he benched? I've heard mixed reports on that.
He was benched.
Someone told me he was injured though, and that's why they said that they came in afterwards. It was an injury. He's a starter next week. So
he is start next week. Flores, Ziggy Flores, the coach, said that he didn't come out of the game to injury. He came out of the game because he thought Fitzpatrick gave him the best chance to win the game at that stage of the game, and that's from the head coach. And like you just said, Flores also said as far as starters moving forward, it's still Tua. So he's still the starter. Brian Flores made a head coaching move that he thought gave him the best opportunity. I don't necessarily agree with it. If you've made that move to Tua, it obviously didn't pay off. They still wound up losing the game. And I think that the risk in doing that is, the confidence in Tua. Now he's got to worry. Right. He's got to worry like he throws, 2 or 3 bad passes in a row. He's going to start looking over his shoulder at the sideline.
Hold on just a minute, guys. All right. Okay. There's been some nice Tua bashing, and that's cute. But I want to play devil's advocate for a minute here. Now, I already mentioned one of my goats being the Miami defense. They were fucking atrocious today. They made Drew Lock look good. Yes, that shows you how bad they played. They made Drew Lock look good. So, I mean, he only threw 1 interception. So that's making Drew Lock look amazing. So, Tua, 11 of 20, 83 yards and a touchdown. His replacement, 12 of 18, 117, and an interception. Rushing, Ryan Fitzpatrick had 2 for 6. Tua didn't run. So you look at the two of them, they played about the same. You're playing a Broncos team that is actually good and they're 4-6 now, but going into this game, they're 4-5. They're in the playoff hunt, especially with that 7th team added. If Drew Lock would stop dancing and actually play football and read a playbook, maybe they'd win more games. But this is a Broncos team that's won these games on defense. Tua goes in and plays a defense. It's one of the tougher defenses he's played all year. He has a bad game. I thought it was ridiculously premature to pull him out of that game. Yeah. I thought it was stupid to pull him out of that game. I thought it was amateur coaching to pull him out of that game. If you're going to tell the media, if you're going to tell everybody we're putting Tua in to see what the fuck we have, to see if we need to get another quarterback, then when he's 11 for 18, you don't yank him. You let him go through it. It's not like he's throwing interceptions, fumbling balls, everything. He was struggling on some drives. Big fucking deal. You work through it. You put Fitzpatrick in, it got worse. So you put him back in. It's a joke to me. And I think it's unfair to throw it all on Tua. I think this was a horrible coaching decision. And I think that's what the problem was today, was coaching and defense.
Yeah, I agree, because you're right. It wasn't Tua. Just only other players were dropping passes. Blockers weren't making blocks. It was the whole team that failed. It wasn't the quarterback that failed.
No. Yeah. Well, it's the old adage, right? The quarterback, gets more credit than he should and more blame than he should. I think that's what happened here. I like Brian Flores, but I agree with you, Drew. I think today he dropped the ball. And
it's an amateur coaching mistake.
Yeah.
Maybe he made it again, but he made it today.
And here's the risk you do with that move is now, if Tua has a bad series or two, you might have shaken his confidence, where before, if he didn't do this today, that bad series or two would be like, all right, I'll get, focused.
Does he lose 2 players in the locker room? Does he lose the support of one offensive line? Does he lose the support of anyone? There's a lot of things that people don't understand that goes into football, that it's much more than on the field. And decisions like this are a lot more costly than a sub in basketball for 5 minutes for load management, especially at a rookie level. I thought this was terrible head coaching, and I think Brian Flores is a great coach, and I think he's the right coach for the Dolphins, and I think they'll be a great team. But I think there is going to be a shitload of overreacting about Tua, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, Ziggy, before we let you go here, I want your opinion on this, and it segues perfect because, John, I want your opinion on this too. Talking about quarterbacks being pulled. All right, Tua is having an okay game, and he doesn't get pulled. Yet we've got a team up here playing a team called the Browns, which we know. I mean, somehow they're 7-3. Congratulations. But the Philadelphia Eagles, you did not lead the entire game whatsoever. And Carson Wentz as a player, 21-35 for 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, if that's my rookie quarterback playing in a close game, that's when I might pull him. Those are stats to make you say, let me pull a guy. I'm going to go out on a limb. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again right now. The Jalen Hurts era needs to begin in week 12, or if they have a bye week 13, I don't know. It should have started today. There was no excuse for Jalen Hurts not to be in that game today. He needs to start today. Carson Wentz needs to get out of Philly. The second Hurts touches that field, he will have played his last game in Philly. And I'm not saying Carson Wentz is a bad quarterback. I think he could go to a different team, the right system, and be a good quarterback in this league. He has that potential. But in my opinion, Carson Wentz deserved to be pulled from that game today. They could have won that game had he gotten pulled from that today, I think, with Jalen Hurts, especially with no film on him. And I don't get the long leash that he has. He's done nothing to deserve it. But what do you guys think? Is this the beginning of the Jalen Hurts era? Does Carson Wentz belong behind center in Philly anymore?
So I would say, I kind of agree with you. However, I admire the coach's commitment to Wentz. He seems to be very committed to him, that he's going to go down with him. I also think that Wentz, what's the difference between Wentz and Josh Rosen? And what I mean by that is both of them were great draft picks, but I think neither one of them have a career in the future. I think Wentz is done when he leaves the Eagles. I don't think he has a reboot somewhere else, because I think he was overrated in the beginning.
Well, I think he was overrated in the beginning too, but Josh Rosen was thrown to the two worst teams 2 years in a row and had three coaches 3 different years. If you'd given him any stability, maybe he would have had some talent. But I do agree with you there.
But they're both, their careers, in my opinion, I won't disagree, but I'm saying their careers are both the same. I don't see Rosen ever starting again. I don't see Wentz ever starting again. And I'll even say this: when you bring up Baker Mayfield, who I'm not a fan of, I want to remind everybody, no scouts liked him. Like, he was not drafted. He was also not recruited by Oklahoma. He's a walk-on. Yeah. So I'm just personally, I think Baker is as good as Wentz. I think Baker's a year behind Wentz. So I put him, Rosen, Wentz all together.
Yeah. What do you think, John? Should it be the Jalen Hurts era?
Ziggy's not going to like me. So let me start off with.
I love you.
Yeah, no. Well, I love you too, Ziggy, but you might not like what I'm going to say.
That's fucking cute. Say what you want to say.
All right. So I think the reason Doug Peterson's not making the move is not so much to go down with Wentz. It's knowing whenever he does pull the plug on Wentz. Ziggy's right. When the plug gets pulled, there's no turning back.
And he's gone probably too.
Yeah, and Peterson knows this, and so I think he's just hoping each week this is the week Wentz gets it in gear, and it's not. And so at some point, what point that is, only Doug Peterson knows. We can speculate till we're blue in the face. But when Wentz gets pulled, that's the end. We all kind of said that in this room. Yeah. And Jalen Hurts comes in. Now, we don't know what, Jalen Hurts has talent, but he's unproven too. And a fourth round pick. And as far as Wentz being done, I think, this is where I'll get off at a different exit from Ziggy. I think Wentz can be a very good player in this league with a change of scenery. And I'm going to talk as a fan here, not as an analyst on the show. I take him, and you can think I'm nuts, but I said this already either last week or 2 weeks ago. I would take him in Pittsburgh in a heartbeat as the backup to Ben, with the hopes that when Ben retires, that Wentz can keep the job. Now, whether he can or he can't, well, that remains to be seen.
That's a different situation. I think that Wentz could definitely learn from if it was one of those Stidham situations where he gets to learn, but he is not in any way, shape, or form. You saw the second people had film on him what happened. But guys, they're 3-6-1. They're leading the NFC East with a dominating 3-6-1 record. Yet we're talking about benching a quarterback that deservedly needs to get benched. But guys, they're so close to the playoffs here.
And that's the other thing.
See what you have in Jalen Hurts. You have to. Sorry, you have to.
So Nick Gable thinks Wentz can play quarterback. I just think it ain't going to be in Philly. Those fans have already checked out on him. He is not I think he reads that stuff. Philly's a bad place to play if you're reading the papers. And they're worse than New York City, quite frankly. And so right. I think he needs to go somewhere else. I think he needs to go somewhere else. Whether it's Pittsburgh, I mentioned Pittsburgh because that's my team, and I hate Mason Rudolph and Josh Dobbs. I don't hate them as people. I hate them as backup quarterbacks. So, I take him in a heartbeat in Pittsburgh, and I'd actually feel. I think that's really sort of an ideal where the press really don't go after anybody. They kind of let the coaches coach, and that might be the best place amongst a few others. But Philly is not the place for him. He's not a Philly guy. He's from North Dakota. Those fans, I've been to Philly multiple times. That's not a place you want to play when you're not playing.
They
good.
whoop Santa's ass. If you can't even get up from fucking a little tackle, you're in trouble. But
so what do you guys think about? Let me ask real quickly. What do you guys? think
real
about,
quick, bud.
The Baltimore lost today, and what do you think about the matchup on Thursday? I mean, Baltimore has to beat the Steelers, or else they might not make the playoffs Thursday. Right?
Well, I'll go on and tell you right now. So what's the question now?
What do you think about Lamar? Did Lamar peak last year?
Yes,
I think he did.
We were just talking about it. We were just talking about this when you called. Lamar Jackson peaked last year, is regressing like crazy.
Yep.
Both of us, I think, are in agreement, at least myself and Newman, that Kyler Murray is much better than Lamar Jackson today as a quarterback. I put Lamar Jackson, who astoundingly was the number one of the NFL top 100 players at the beginning of the year. What the fuck game film they were watching, I don't know. I didn't even see it.
Listen, I'll stick up for him in this regard.
No, he had a good year last year.
He had a great year.
But when Cam had an MVP year the next year, he wasn't number one. So an automatic amazing year shouldn't put you at number one guaranteed, especially when you're so young. And so I think they're 100% regressing. And is it a must win? I don't think it's necessarily a must win because they added in an extra playoff seed. But if they lose this game, they sure as shit better go on a long winning streak. And I don't see them winning this game whatsoever.
I don't hear.
Here's the thing. You mentioned a guy that I'm kind of looking at, Lamar Jackson, and I'm seeing a parallel to. It's sort of Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Right? You had that MVP type year. Mm-hmm. He's the toast of the league.
He's better than Cam Newton, I will say.
And then it never gets back.
Lamar. Here's one thing I noticed about Lamar. When you watch when he's losing, he looks frustrated. He looks angry. He looks distracted. He doesn't, in my opinion, it almost looks like he's pointing blame at other people. He's not that calm quarterback who sits there and just says, "Okay, guys, we'll get it the next time." You can tell he gets frustrated.
That sounds like a clip from 2011 talking about Cam Newton. All you're missing is a towel over his head. But and I agree with you. That's about how it goes. But John, what do you think? We do have to move on as we've got a little bit left in the show and a couple more things to do. But John, what do you think in terms of is a game for Baltimore, and do they have a chance?
Well, I mean, Baltimore could lose, and I hope they do Thursday, but Baltimore could lose that game and still make the playoffs. But what it will do is that will rattle that locker room. They've lost. This is one of the biggest rivalries, not just in football, but sports when these two teams get together. It's must-watch TV, Steelers-Ravens. If the Steelers beat them again, that'll be the season sweep. It'll be their third straight. On top of the season sweep, it'll be Baltimore's third straight loss. They'll be reeling. And so whether they make the playoffs or not, I don't think they're really going to be a threat anymore anyway. I think that their confidence is already shaken. I'll use a boxing analogy, right? They've been hit with a couple nice shots. Mm-hmm. They're backpedaling. They're seeing stars like circling their head like a cartoon. And if the Steelers come in Thursday and hit them with that big blow and finish them, that's exactly what it will do. Playoffs or no playoffs, and that's what I'm hoping for, because I'm not going to completely write them up, because if Baltimore does win on Thursday, they can right this ship. They got time. It's not a lot of time, but it's not over yet. It's like same thing, boxing analogy, right? They're seeing stars, but they throw a punch and land it the other way, and they kind of get their feet under them again and continue the fight. So Thursday's game is so huge in so many levels for the division and for the AFC. And if you're looking at Kansas City tonight, they're not looking anything like the Super Bowl champs of last year.
No.
And so the door, early on when the Steelers were 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, I'll be honest with you, as a fan of the team, I'm like, how are we going to beat Kansas City? Even if they're right. And now I'm starting to think, listen, we got as good a shot as anybody right now. Maybe we're even the favorite.
Well, hey, I will say this, and saying that, looking at this game right here, I almost took the Raiders in this thread people need to start taking a look at the Raiders as legit contenders. This is a football team. Derek Carr's not making mistakes. Josh Jacobs and maybe behind Derrick Henry, the best back in the league. They have a lot of weapons. They're very young. They've got a good defense. And John Gruden, despite all his ridiculousness and all of the insanity that comes along with him, is a hell of a coach. This is a team that's getting this team ready and doing what they hired him, this 10-year whatever process they're going along. He's got them playing the right way, and the proof is right here in these games. It's not just this game that Las Vegas has really handled some people. Yes, they've had some really bad, games as well, but Las Vegas is a good football team. But I will agree with you. Kansas City is not the team that strikes fear into the heart of me like they did last year, at least if I'm going to play them.
Yep. Steelers do. I agree.
Yes. Yes.
I'll drop off.
All right. Well, Ziggy, thanks so much for joining the show. Ziggy, guys, just so you know, Ziggy is also one of our hosts on Hobby Hotline, and he was also a guest on the new episode of Let Me Get That Potograph, which drops late tonight or early in the morning, depending on your platform and depending on when they decide to load it and do all that adding and all that jazz. But John, we got about 15 minutes or so, and there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on. And one game, we talked about your Steelers game, and I know you had some comments about this, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it, and that is the Panthers-Lions game. You go into this game, you've got an AAF quarterback, you've got no CMC, you've got a banged-up Carolina team that looks just out of sync altogether. You've got a Lions team that who knows who they are. I think their whole team, I think they might have invented COVID as much as it's around them. You see a game like this today, the Panthers with their 7th shutout in franchise history. Absolutely. They literally dominated this team. The Lions had no business being on the field today at all. And it makes me think, is this something where, the NFL needs to look into, guys, are you healthy enough to play? That's how bad this looked.
I'll sum this game up in one sentence.
Pathetic.
One team's got the right mat, and one team's got the wrong mat. And I think we know where to. I see Carolina looks like they nailed it with Matt Rule, and Detroit looks like they swung and missed with Matt Patricia just because he worked under Belichick. And so you Matt Patricia. You can start the Dan Quinn firing watch on Matt Patricia. Take Dan Quinn's name off that chart, Drew, and replace it with Matt Patricia.
A new name.
Because there's no way this guy, I think the proof's in the pudding. He's got weapons there, man. He's got receivers. Matt Stafford's a pretty good NFL quarterback. I know he didn't play today, but DeAndre Swift is a legitimate starting running back in the NFL. Adrian Peterson's there. I know it's not young Adrian Peterson, but to get shut out against a rebuilding Carolina's team, like you said, no CMC, and come on.
Teddy? Come on, dude.
The starting quarterback and arguably the best running back in the league are out, and you get shut out. 20-0.
All right. So where do we start right now? We've got now that Dan Quinn, thank you, Dan, for giving me this lovely work for 2 years, but you got to go lose somewhere else now. So where do we start the Matt Patricia fire meter? Where at 1 to 10, where are we at? Are we?
Oh man, if you're asking me, I got to put that thing at 6 or 7.
6. All right. So we're going to start
I'd go higher, I'd go higher, but what is he, in his 3rd year?
Yes.
If he was actually a veteran coach, that number would be super high. I think he's still getting a little pass because this is his first job.
Because he's a Belichick disciple, I think he's getting
too late, man. This is his 3rd year. And I'm not buying the Belichick. Everyone that coaches for Belichick's Belichick. I think we know that's not true. We saw McDaniels flame out in Denver. So this isn't the first coach. Romeo Crennel was not a successful head coach. Yeah. This isn't the first Belichick understudy to fail miserably. It's just the latest. It's just the latest Belichick understudy to fail miserably. This is what I don't get. I get the coaching tree thing.
There you go. So we've got it right here at about a 6. So we'll see if it fills up from there. But we've got our fire meter back. Thank God. Something was missing, and that's what it was.
But that's the thing, man. We got to quit. Just because someone coaches under someone doesn't, make them that person.
Right.
We got to quit doing that. You know, Bill Walsh was Bill Walsh. Bill Parcells was Bill Parcells. Chuck Noll was Chuck. A lot of them guys that coach under them either never got a head coaching gig or the ones that did sucked as head coaches. If you want Bill Belichick as a coach, hire Bill Belichick if you can lure him away. And at this point, you might be able to because that looks like a dead fish in the water in New England. So, but quit thinking you can make, even Zach Taylor in Cincinnati. He's Sean McVay Jr. He's not Sean McVay Jr. He's Zach Taylor, and they're losing games with pretty good players. And so again, it's his first year, so I'm gonna jury the still out on that one. But we gotta quit thinking guys because they coach for someone else or work for someone else, that's who they are. And we gotta quit. We gotta quit doing that.
Right.
And Matt Rule, I don't know who his coaching, what tree he falls under, but man, that hire, listen, that hire looks good. Who cares who he works for? He looks like he's got a grasp of it himself. Maybe in 10 years we'll be talking about the Matt Rule coaching tree. And so
when that hire was announced, I was not happy. I was not happy at all when that hire was announced. However, since everything's happened, I've got to say I love Matt Rule. I have fully bought into everything that he's selling. I'm buying. This dude, I understand why so many people wanted him, while so many people went after him, because he is a game-changing type of coach. I think he brings multiple championships to the Carolina Panthers. I think he ends up being one of our coaches that stays for a very long time, and that's just Matt Rule in general, and it's just it's incredible to me. I think they're really building something in Carolina. He's got the faith of the entire team around him. It's something amazing to watch, and it's got me to actually want to put my gear on again. I mean, and that's Matt Rule. So kudos to him. Absolutely. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you're the Lions, 3 years is enough to know that Matt Patricia is not getting it done. You got to cut bait and get whoever the next Matt Rule type of guy might be, whether it's from college or whether it's a highly touted assistant coach, Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City. The list goes on. There's other guys. I think you tried Matt Patricia. You failed Matt Patricia. He failed you. Cut the bait. He'll go back to being a DC somewhere else. Maybe he'll go back to New England for all we know. But that ain't working. Stop wasting time. That meter would be a 10 if I was the Lions ownership, and he would be probably and right after this game earlier today. Probably I wouldn't even let him on the plane. I'd let him on the plane. Like, hey, we're gonna get you home. But when we get back to Detroit, clean out your office, please. Thanks for everything. I mean, you gotta at some point, even just for the fan base, you gotta look like you care, and you're trying to make moves. And I don't know how long Matt Stafford's gonna be there. He's on the back nine of his career. But if your intentions are keeping that guy 2-3 more years, and I don't know what those intentions are, but if that was the case, then get a coach in here that maybe can get you a playoffs and some damage in the playoffs, but it's not going to be Matt Patricia.
No. Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. Well, guys, we do have just a couple of minutes left here. Please, if you have anything that you'd like to ask or anything, call in and let us know. But, John, it is my favorite time, at least, of the week segment that, for those of you that are new to watching the show, was born out of my apparent love for the use of the word shit whip. So we are going with the shit whip of the week. And man, today, John, you sent me a good one, and I liked it. It was a good hit. And for a rookie, solid little pop. I was thinking maybe the Joe Burrow one, but it was a little too gruesome, a little too brutal. I don't like putting when people really get injured out there too much. But I want to show you this hit today. This man today probably I could fill up an entire shit whip with this man's highlights today. But there's one hit in particular, and I've got 2 views on it that you've got to see, because this man just kudos, and one of my favorite hits so far, because he hits like a man, and like they actually teach you in football. And the winner of this week's Shit Whip of the Week award is Donovan Wilson. Let's take a look at this play. It's Vikings and Cowboys, and here we go. Plows this mother. Now, it goes for crazy loose ball.
He hurts himself.
He hurts himself. But I'm going to show you the better angle in just a minute. They're going to show you a nice little view of the pop here in just a second. He hits him so hard he hurts himself.
I think he knocks the wind.
And then he headbutts somebody, because that's good when you got a head and shoulder injury. He hurts the other guy too. This is his second forced fumble of the game. The dude's an absolute stud, but here's the hit. Watch how hard he hits this man. It's Cousins' fault. He threw it in an awful position, but this dude gets straight jacked up. Now,
so as a former coach, man, you look at that. If you could freeze frame that right Boom. When he hit the pure definition of form tackle, bite. We use a term in coaching called bite the ball. Yeah, he bit the ball, head in the right place, bite the ball there.
Look at that. That is kids, this is how you tackle.
Yeah. As a former defensive coordinator, I always use this term. Beautiful. Separate the man from the ball. Split the ball and the man, and that's exactly what he did.
And this is what happens, and this is what it looks like when you do it the right way. Beautiful tackle, beautiful form, and you can literally jack someone up, and you get to appear on Roughing the Passer's Shit Whip of the Week, which, that's the real winning. That's the real win here, if we're being serious.
It's not going to be the 10 times Dallas's DC plays that in film session and says, guys, watch this. Yeah. This is what I want to see.
But every single coach or anyone that coaches youth football, watches anything, take that film and show these kids how that man tackled. Yeah, that's why I wanted to use it, because it was a textbook tackle right way. It was beautiful.
Bite the ball, separate the man from the ball. Everything we in the coaching circle use, all the cliches on the defensive side, he took it to heart and did it literally. Perfect. I mean, if you're doing a tutorial video on how to make a tackle and split the ball from the man, that's what should come up first, right there.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that's gonna do it. We're gonna wrap it up a couple minutes early today, I guess, for week 11 in the NFL. Currently, we are in the third quarter. At the end of the third quarter, the Raiders are driving, it looks like, and it is 21-17 Chiefs. So it does look like we're going to have a very interesting fourth quarter to finish off the games on Sunday. For all of you that do not know, we do also, if you're unable to watch on video, or maybe video is not your thing, like listening to it when you're in your car and you hate YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Roughing the Passer is now also on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, everywhere along those areas. So you can listen to this show as well. If you are unable to catch us live. And as always, guys, please call in, chat with us. It doesn't matter about whatever you guys want to talk about. Right, John?
Exactly. And, I'll stick up for someone who might not watch the show live. It might be a combination of one or two things. A wife might not let them, and I feel bad for you if that's the case. Or they just don't want to see our ugly faces on the screen, but they don't mind hearing our voices. So whatever the case may be, we appreciate whether you're watching live or listening.
Yeah.
If you're listening on the podcast form, like Drew said, just know if you want to see the ugly mugs, 9:30 p.m. every Sunday night Eastern. And like you hear us saying during the show, call in. You want to come on the show and then listen to the podcast and admire yourself after the fact for years to come.
Exactly. But yeah, exactly. But guys, thanks so much for guys and gals. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Roughing the Passer. Y'all pay attention to our picks. Newman and I looked at many Vegas insiders, ESPN insiders. We're kicking their asses when it comes to overall
what
picks.
Are we doing?
I mean, we are absolutely dominating. I mean, we should be Vegas Dave and selling these for parlays on Twitter, but I mean, it's absolutely absurd. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode, and make sure you check out new episode of Sports Card Nation, John Show, which dropped on Friday. The new episode of Hobby Hotline, which dropped on Saturday. The new episode of Roughing the Passer you're watching now, and the new episode of Let Me Get That Potograph, which will be dropping later tonight. Make sure you check all those out as well. And we'll have our picks later, a little earlier since we got Thanksgiving. So it'll be a little earlier in the week when our picks will be out this week, since it'll be a little switched up. But stay tuned to all of our socials and you'll get all that information. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Roughing the Passer calls.